So let's talk about the Guardians, who come into the post All-Star break tonight. I live in my fears. You guys know that because I'm a lifelong Cleveland sports fan. So I often say on this show, what worries me or what scares me most, because that's where I live.
Yeah.
I am concerned, I am now officially extremely concerned that what we saw in the first half was a bit of a mirage, and I'm not sure the sustainability as we go into the last 70 games, particularly when you look at what the Twins have become. It's almost like it was reversed.
Yeah.
The Twins were expected to be a powerful team and make another run at the division title, and they started so slowly. At one point, they were double digits back early, and everybody's like, wow, okay, I guess it's going to be Cleveland's division to win, or maybe Kansas City. So that's my fear right now. My fear is they overachieved, the reality of no Shane Bieber, and a pitching staff that if you put it together on paper and that's all you looked at, you'd say, yeah, this team is probably 10 games under 500 right now.
Yes.
I'm afraid that keeping that magic going is going to be a little more difficult than we probably thought.
They have to keep the hitting going. Like before, when your pitching is doing well, you can say, oh, that's a nice story. Look how great the hitting doing. Like, we're getting the best of both worlds.
Sure.
Not no more. Like, they have to continue to hit the ball at the pace they've hit. Quan needs to still hit the ball. Fry needs to hit the ball. You still need Naylor to be driving in runs. And you're going to start to have these other guys like Jimenez start to hit the ball as well. Like, at this point, their identity this year has been a team that has been, surprisingly good offensively. It can't be a surprise no more. They got to continue to do that because the starting pitching just ain't there.
Jay, are you afraid like I am?
No, because obviously you want to win the division. Obviously.
Sure.
It's a huge advantage.
Are you going to the wild card?
This team's going to the playoffs, period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're a playoff team. And we
barring a complete
total collapse.
By the way, you look at Boston, you look at some of these other teams.
It'll be a race.
I mean, I know the Orioles and Yanks have stepped back too.
But, I mean, first of all, the trade deadline's in about 10 days, 10, 11 days.
So help is coming.
Their help is coming. You would think. They're going to do something. I don't know what.
What's the inside word on that?
I don't know that they're going to land a starting pitcher. And I know that's what everyone wants. And that's what I want. And I've said, I'm on record, I don't necessarily want a starting pitcher for October. You just need a starter to get to October. You just need someone to chew up until you get there.
Sure.
If they go the route of adding another bullpen arm, if it's someone like a Mason Miller, I'm actually okay with that.
Oh, listen, who wouldn't want Mason Miller on
if
their
you
roster?
if you can make the playoff games a 4-inning game, 5-inning game,
you can get by with this pitching.
You can get by.
Yeah.
You can do it. You just have to get there, and you can't kill these guys between now and October.
And that's another fear of mine.
Right.
You look at the odometer and you're checking the tread on the tires. It could be time for a new set real quickly.
Yeah. Obviously, you're putting a lot of faith in Gavin Williams. I am, at least.
I am too.
And it's unfair what we're asking. I've been beating the drum on Tanner Bybee all season long. He's a second-year pitcher. It's unfair to ask of him what I and the Guardians are asking of him.
So is Gavin.
But it's the position that you're in. Like, life's not fair sometimes. So sorry that we're not being fair to you, but this is the expectation.
But win.
Yeah, this is what you got to do.
Why is it, Jason, why won't they get a starting pitcher?
I don't know how many are going to become available. And hopefully some teams fall out of this over the next 10 days.
That's what's killing us right now.
There's not enough.
There are too many teams within a stone's throw of the wild card.
And to me, what's really going to hurt them is the fact that the Orioles and Dodgers both need pitching. Mm-hmm. They both need starting pitching, and they have much deeper, more talented farm systems than what the Guardians have. Yes.
Wow,
at the
really?
top end,
okay, that
at the top
me.
end, the elite 1 through 5, it's not even close.
No, that's what I would give you.
Yeah.
But in terms of depth,
well, okay, fine, yeah, depth.
I don't think there's that big a difference between the Orioles.
The Guardians run pretty deep, but the high-end talent, it's not even close. Yeah. Baltimore has guys in their minors right now who should be playing in the majors.
They do,
and they can't even get on the roster because of the guys in front of them are so good. So I think Baltimore is going to control the starting pitching at this deadline.
Yeah.
If it's a matter of who are they willing to trade a Kobe Mayo? Are they willing to trade a Heston Kjerstad?
What are you hearing?
I don't know what's going on with Baltimore.
Right.
I would imagine that they're going to trade those guys because Jordan Westberg has emerged as like a potential star, and I think he was looked at as a placeholder. He's had such a good year for Baltimore at third base that it probably makes a Kobe Mayo available now.
Sure.
To where I think they were going to. I think they probably thought
that
Mayo
does
would be
put
here
us
by
at
now.
a distinct disadvantage.
Absolutely. But the thing, and I mentioned this to Bull, and Bull sort of said, yeah, I said the same thing. The Bazzana draft to me frees up Rocchio now.
I agree.
To where you can be aggressive. I want Bo Bichette. That's my number one. I want
Over
Bo
a pitcher?
Bichette. Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Over a
really?
pitcher. I want Bo Bichette on this team.
Okay.
And I'm not saying, I mean, the Jays have Orelvis Martinez, they have other guys they can, as they look at as prospects, middle infield guys too. I'm just saying, you can be more aggressive now and go get somebody to fill a short-term need at shortstop, presuming, and you take Bazzana because you believe he's going to be here by June next year.
Do you think there's any world which he's called up this year?
Here's what I told Bull.
Because I told Bull he's going to be here in September.
Here's the one scenario that I think could play out. Last year in September, the Rays called up Junior Caminero, former Guardians farmhand,
right,
who's going to be a superstar in this
I wish
league
we had
the
him.
way he's tracking. They called him up for the last week or two of the season and then had him on the postseason roster.
Right.
They could do that with Bazzana, depending on how July, August, and September go with him. If they think he can help them.
Is he
if
going
he's
to
ready.
Akron?
I haven't heard. I
Yeah.
don't know. But if they could bring him up for the last week or two, the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to start the contract clock on this year. But you can roll it back. Whatever service time he contributes or allots this year, collects this year, you can roll it back. He's not going to start next year in the majors. So you could roll it back.
That's an assumption. If he comes up and he tears the cover off the ball,
Then maybe he
he's
does.
here and you just eat the year.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that, by the way.
And maybe you're right. I shouldn't say so definitively he's not. The Rays, that's what the Rays did with Caminero. He's had a ton of injuries this year.
Right.
But they said, like, he needs more seasoning. He's not starting the year with us. He's going to the minors. So you can manipulate the clock that way.
Sure.
Unless, if he just comes up in his monster, bonkers.
And it's undeniable.
And then Jimenez is your shortstop and Bazzana is your second
That's the way it
baseman.
works with first picks. When you get a first pick, people watch them get drafted on TV, and guys like me are going to be like, hey,
I want him.
I want to see
Let's
this
see
dude
him.
play.
I don't think there's any way he's in Cleveland before the last week of the season, the last week or two,
Right.
where you just kind of get your feet wet a little bit. It's exactly how the Rays handled Caminero.
Right.
And then if he's overwhelmed, if it's a Jackson Holiday situation, okay, he's not on the postseason roster, and we'll start again next year. If he doesn't look overmatched, if he looks like he can help you, like Caminero did, then you can have that conversation and you can worry about the contract clock next year.
The one thing I mentioned on Monday's show that really concerns me about this situation, we see pitchers can make that jump.
Yeah.
With hitters, it is so drastically different because it's a pitching league. That's how, you need pitching. That's the commodity. He's going to be seeing pitchers, not necessarily in Akron, but when he gets here, he's going to be seeing pitchers that were far and above where the average pitcher was that he saw, particularly because of the conference he played in. Wasn't like it was the SEC where that's like almost a double-A minor league deal. He's going to be seeing great pitching every day, and that 407 can become 207 in a click.
Sure. And you know what actually makes me feel a little bit better about it is Ali Rutschman is doing just fine. Stephen Kwan never went back to the minors.
Yeah.
And they're both Oregon State products who went through exactly what we're – because you look at the Pac-12 and you go, I don't know, it's the Pac-12. I thought the exact same thing. It's not the SEC.
Right.
But when you look at guys that program specifically has produced, I mean, Rutschman was a one-in-a-generation type talent coming out as a catcher.
If they get
he's lived
anything
up to
near
it.
that
Yeah.
with Bazzana,
Oh, yeah.
you're talking about now with the first four in your lineup, you're literally talking about a team that would probably be penciled in at the top of everybody's AL Central Division pick.
Oh, for sure.
For a number of years.
And Bazzana I don't think, was ever viewed in the class of Rutschman. But, whatever. He's here now, and obviously you're expecting a lot out of him being the number one overall pick.
He broke a lot of Rutschman's records.
I know, but I still don't think he's looked at as the MLB prospect type that Rutschman was coming out. But, hey, listen.
I love the kid swing.
Yeah.
I love it.
If you can pencil him in as the number 2 spot in this order, and now suddenly you just added a little bit more depth to this thing, there's been
a lot of conversation about how does the transition from second to short go.
Yeah.
Because, when you win Gold Gloves, you're usually like, okay, that's where you live now for the rest of your life.
Right.
But I don't look at it that way with middle infield in particular because I've done that my whole life between second and short.
Are you talking Jimenez now moving?
I am talking about Jimenez.
Okay.
Okay, so if Bazzana sticks, clearly you put him at second, and I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't.
I don't think it is
He
either.
is an elite athlete who was a shortstop coming up.
Yes.
So, I mean, he's just
That's
going
the
home.
thing. And let's remember, Andres Jimenez is such a special athlete.
Oh.
He is a natural left-handed player. He's left-handed. He throws left-handed.
Right.
He taught himself
Which
to
is-
throw right-handed because he wanted to catch. He loved being a catcher. I was talking to him in spring training about this. He wanted to be a catcher as a kid, so he taught himself how to throw right-handed. You don't think you can play shortstop? I promise you can play shortstop.
yeah. I have no
And an
doubts.
elite,
No
and plus,
doubts.
it might make that contract feel a little bit better if he doesn't live up to the player that we thought he was going to be when he signed that deal coming off his monster breakout offensive season.
Right.
You can live with it a little bit more. Second base is not an elite premier position. Shortstop is.
No, but to your point, Jason, if Bazzana brings the kind of production that everyone's hoping he does, it makes it easier if Jimenez's production is less because
If
you're
this
looking
is
at it
what
as
he
a
is,
package.
yes.
Like, what are you getting from the middle of your infield?
Right, right.
And if he can be okay at short with diminished production if Bazzana becomes the guy we think he can.
And who knows if it is, but if this is Andres Jimenez's peak as an offensive player, what he provides you defensively
I'll take.
from a premier position like shortstop, I just feel like it makes that contract a little bit easier to live with.
I agree.